Welcome to the Expert Speaker Podcast. We have the Sales Sensei, Joe Marcoux. Welcome to the show.
Majeed, like magic, it is a pleasure. It's great to catch up with you again, my man. I mean, when people say, "Hey, Joe, do you have a coach?" And I've got several coaches in my life, and you are my speaker coach. And it's great to reconnect, my friend. It's been too long.
You too. And I'm so proud of your progress. You just shared with me a big win. I'll let you say the number. You sold from the stage?
Yeah, the end result is $110,000 US for those folks in Canada. Yeah, annual revenue. Thank you. And what the main thing that comes out of that, Majeed, is not just the money, it's the ongoing relationships from other people. And never mind the fact that now there's this fan base that I've grown. And I didn't tell you this prior. There's this other group that I was curious to go and speak with. I think, yeah, they would be a great client for me to go and speak with. And then by happenstance on social media, one of the influencers that was at this speech that I did only a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas, I noticed on his feed that he had gone to a conference for this other group. And I reached out to him and I just said, "Hey, Matt, how was the conference that you were just at?" And he said, "Oh, it was great." And then I just asked him the question. I said, out of curiosity, do you think the speech that I gave in this context, it was at the Fit Body Bootcamp World Conference, do you think that these people would benefit from me speaking at one of their next events? The answer was hell yes. And then he said, without me even asking, "Would you like me to make an introduction?" And so now that opens up more doors, which is something that you taught me. If you want to get more speeches, just talk to other speakers or talk to other people there. And how can you come in and give? It's been great. Thank you.
Amazing. Let me unpack that a little bit. So you spoke at one place, and then you messaged a fellow speaker who saw your speech.
Yes.
And you said, "I'm just curious, but do you think the speech that you just saw would be a good fit for that other event that you're speaking at?" And he said, "Absolutely. Let me make an introduction."
Correct.
Right? Cool. So I learned early as a speaker, one of the ways you know you're on the right track is every time you speak, you get 3 more speech invitations.
Right.
And I believe that's a product of 2 things. It's a product of being a great speaker, and it's a product of having these other systems and tactics in place to actually ask people and actually get those extra speak instead of just waiting, hoping that they're going to come to you.
Yeah. I mean, network is exactly that. It's not net lunch. It's network. You got to get into the work. You have a net. There's a net of people out there. There's a web of people that they're connected to other people that are connected to other people.
Yeah.
And getting referrals will only happen if you ask. Because, like it or not, and I love you to bits, my man, I don't wake up in the morning going, "Oh, so here are the referrals for Majeed today." Like I don't wake up that way, and nobody else does. What we got to do is we got to make it a part of our process, our system to, okay, what's the task list now that I've crushed it on stage? I've got to now ask people for the next event, which could be, in one case, I'm looking to speak at Bedros Keuilian Live in 2025.
Okay.
And Bedros is the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp. And he spoke at the event. And Bedros and I know each other. And I'm still climbing up the ladder. I mean, Bedros gets generally 6 figures when he goes and does a speech at places.
Yeah.
And so what I asked Bryce Henson, the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp, was, what did you think? How did you like it? And he was like, thrilled. And I'm like, well, I know that you've got Bedros' ear. I'm just curious for 2025, because I know BK Live for 2024, which is happening in September, it's already sold out. He's already got the lineup.
Yeah.
So he's not, right now, it's like, 13, 14 months out, can we start planting the seed to get there? And again, the quality of speaker at that event
Yeah.
is even bigger. So exactly right. And I took that from you. It's like, I'm going to start working my network
Yeah.
to start getting into bigger gigs.
Good for you for having the vision that you could be, I know not this one, but next one, and laying down the relationships and starting the conversations. I love how you're so curious, just curious. Are you planning to be there at this BK Live?
So the interesting thing is, at the same time that BK Live is happening, Craig Ballantyne is having his event and I'm speaking at his event.
Okay.
And Craig is actually one of Bedros's all-time best friends. And Craig was carbon copied on the email that Bryce sent back to me saying, I've already told Bedros, and by the way, I'm adding Craig to this thread. So now I've got, you've done this for me before. You reached out to Sachin Patel,
Yeah.
and you carbon copied a couple of other people on it, and it just grows, right? And these are great people for me to be able to speak for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love introducing you to highly valuable people with huge networks, because I know I'm going to get a lot of thanks coming back to me from all parties involved. And this is just your like value focus. You're just so helpful, when it comes to just advice and introductions, and so professional. So it's hard to teach that. There's some people who they ask for an introduction and you go, gosh, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, well, you're not exactly the kind of person I want to be, putting my reputation associated to, but you're a shining professional.
Thank you.
There's so much I'd like to ask you. There's so much I'd like to learn from you. Sales, I love sales. I love psychology and communication and the discipline and the systems and the follow-ups and all this. There's two things I want to make sure we cover in this podcast interview. One is, how did you sell from stage 6 figures?
Okay.
And the other is the buyer's roadmap. And
the buying conversation roadmap. Sure.
Buying conversation roadmap. I'm sure we'll find little pockets of tangents that we'll want to explore a little bit more.
Sure.
But let's start with you're speaking on stage and you're generating 6 figures.
Yes.
Help me figure out, from your perspective, what goes into a talk that sells? And of course, you must have been in the right room, because you could give the perfect talk with the wrong audience. And you're not gonna... So how did you get in that right room? So what do you think goes into a talk that sells? And what do you think goes into getting yourself on those right stages? So
I'll answer it with the right stages, with the right people in the room. This was a conference in this context where there were employees and franchise partners and owners at the conference. And there was an afternoon where only the decision makers, the franchise partners, the owners were going to be present. That's who I spoke to. And I made a point of saying, I don't need to be speaking to all of these people. I want to speak to the people that are going to make the decision. Number one. And this goes, I'll explain the story in terms of how this goes all the way back. My business coach, Craig Ballantyne, and I were having this conversation, and I said, I'd love to be able to help Fit Body Bootcamp. And I knew that Bedros was the founder. And I said, can you make an introduction? He's like, well, actually, I'll have to introduce you to Bryce Henson, who's the CEO. I'm going back now over 2 years. Does the introduction saying, Bryce, you got to meet with Joe. Bryce says, I'm too busy. In an email, nice to meet you, too busy. And he is busy guy. I'll say this. I am relentless in my follow-up. And when I say relentless, I'm not like pestering. I'm giving value. And I'm reaching out. And it's like, finally, it's like, Bryce, give me a shot. I'd love to speak to even a small group of your people. Let's call it an audition. And I'll do it on Zoom. I'll take an hour. I'll drop liquid gold for you. And if it works, we can have a conversation. If it doesn't work, hey, listen, I'll pay you. I'm fine with that. I know that I'm going to drop liquid gold, and Craig wouldn't invite me to meet with you if we didn't think that. Finally, something breaks, and I get an opportunity to speak to their mastermind. When the mastermind speech that I do on Zoom is done, the chat is blowing up. And it's literally, and I mean, I have screenshots. This is the best Zoom call we've ever had. And Bryce and the C-suite of people are then, after the call, are going, we need to talk. We'd like for you to start working with us with our mastermind group on a regular basis, because we want to be able to, now that we've seen the buying conversation roadmap, we want to implement this within all of our franchise partners. Awesome. So then I start doing work with them, with contractually speaking for the mastermind. They invite me to go speak at a mastermind event in June in Denver, Colorado. I bring one of my guys, Jeff, with me. We speak for a full day. We do a workshop. They love it. They go, can you come speak at World Conference? Now it's all franchise partners are there, not just the mastermind group. Done. And then you asked, how did we get to this 110K piece? Well, what we did was, with the C-suite group before the event, the intention was, what can we do to be able to invite your franchise partners to pay through you the opportunity to work with your sales? Now we're the sales coaching partner as a bolt-on solution to their company, to Fit Body Bootcamp. So that's exactly what we did. We created a QR code, and I have the CEO and the C-suite people saying, we have some of our staff, which we do, in our program. And then I got to deliver for an hour and a half, just nothing but gold. And then at the end, I said, by the way, limited, and it truly, creating the urgency of saying there's a limited room for a group of you, whether you're in the mastermind or not, the first come, first serve, and we sold it out.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Okay, here's what I heard. One, you are definitely sold on you and your content. You are certain without a shadow of a doubt there's liquid gold, so certain you would pay if anyone ever thought otherwise.
100%. Yeah.
Number two, this was a 2-year journey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This wasn't overnight.
So this speaks to your persistence. I forget how you said it exactly. Relentless follow-up. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the first thought that popped in my head is, do you have a CRM or a reminder, or is there like a Post-it note in front of you that says, keep calling this
all
Bryce
of the
guy?
above, Majeed. Yeah. I will put it in my CRM, and I use Go High Level. And no secret with that. If there's a CRM and a pipeline that you can create, just like Pipedrive. So I have a pipeline in there. And then I also set reminders. I have new school and old school technology. I will literally, as I speak to you right now, I'll take out my month at a glance calendar, and I'll still write stuff down on it to remind me that I'm going to do this. And then now I'll delegate. Now I'll delegate to my team, where it's like, hey, Shauna, I need you to email and CC me this person on this particular, and so now I can leverage my time. And you have assistants, whether they're a VA or not, we can leverage our time. You can even set up emails ahead of time to go out. I mean, and it was Sachin who showed me Boomerang, and now I use Boomerang as an extension, a Chrome extension, so that I can set people's appointments. You can also set emails to go out 3 or 4 days later from now, and I don't have to think about it. It's just, so I'll do it on the fly while I'm thinking about it, and then automations go out.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing the inner workings of the system. All right. So you started with a trusting reputation, which is your business coach. That led to an introduction, responded with too busy, follow-up. Give me a chance, give me a shot, call it an audition. We'll go from there all the way to you're now the trusted guy with the reputation. And you came up with an innovative solution, which is you're not selling a coaching program. You are forming a coaching partnership. And for some reason, it was advantageous to this organization for them to pay through them to you?
Yes, because as my company gets the minimum that we're looking for, any additional, the corporation will then take in the profits. So for them, there's literally nothing to lose. They have everything to gain. Plus, and the plus is, because of what we do within the SOS Dojo, which is sales coaching live, all of the franchise partners or salespeople that take part in this live coaching every week are only going to improve or their money back. And so it's a double win for them, because now their franchise partners are going to be making more money, which will likely lead to them opening up more franchises, which we've already proven that we could do. So it's a multiple win for them.
So you're really dialed into their vision, what they're trying to achieve, which is more franchise partners.
Yes.
You're aware of their risks, and you're removing all of their risks. It's just making a no-brainer win-win-win.
Correct.
So creativity to sort of the offer design that went into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it obviously now it comes back to having that buying conversation with them and getting a sense of, okay, what's the rapport building first that I made with Bryce and with Barrett and with Joel and with Jared. These are the people that are on the C-suite. And we'd have several meetings, and it would be myself and my COO, Jeff, and we'd have great conversations. And then eventually we were able to earn the right to pitch them an idea that they fell in love with. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, congratulations. That's a huge win and great inspiration for people to stick with it, to continue to follow up, to be world-class, and create a solution that is just a no-brainer. Sounds like you did all that.
Yeah. I mean, the way that I like to approach it is I want to be able to eliminate all objections before I drop the price. Now, and it's funny because the SOS is the sales objection system. And that's been the calling card of the business. When people really learn what we do, they learn how to take aim. And aim is, in French, is M, which means love. And you've heard KLT before, right? You got to know, like, and trust the person. I prefer know, love, and trust. Like when people know Majeed, it's like, man, I love that guy. Well, when people say that, that leads people to buy from Majeed. I want people to say, Joe Marcoux, I love that guy. I just love that guy. Awesome. Because if they love me, they're more likely to buy from me. Because it's not about trust. I mean, I take my car to a body shop, or I take my car to the repairman, right? Because I'm not a car guy. Like it's like I'm looking for the switch on off. That's it. Yeah. So when I take a car to a mechanic, I trust in the fact that they're going to do a good job. When I go to a restaurant, I trust in the fact that the food's going to be good. Like that's right. So when people say it's trust, my belief is it's not trust. It's the intangible of, you can call it like, to me, it's love. It's like that. And I can't put my finger on it. There's something there. I love this guy. And therefore I trust this guy more than I trust someone else. And really the trusting more is truly the intangible of the like, the love that you have. So now if I can build rapport with someone well in the context of AIME, AIME, which is part of our buying conversation roadmap, A means, am I in alignment with someone? Can I inspire them? Right? It's alignment, inspiration, motivation. Not to say that I can motivate someone, because we can't motivate people. We can inspire them. What we do with motivation is find out what their motive to action is. Motivation is motive action. And then ultimately in sales, whether it's from the stage or on a call, it's empowerment. I want to empower someone to make a decision. And I'm okay with no, by the way. If it's no, then I can learn what I need to do to be able to make it a yes later. Because no just means no for now. And that's part of the relentless approach.
You have a lot of precise language and a lot of optimized mindset. Like no actually means not right now. And motivation means what is their motive to taking action. So I see I have a fellow linguist on the podcast here, and I love it.
I learned from the best, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's jump into this buyer roadmap. I know you have a graphic you can
Yeah.
open and share. Please.
I'll share it with you on screen. So this is the buying conversation roadmap. The first step is having a compelling offer. You're a master at the offer. And so when you have an offer that's so good, and let's use Alex Hermosi, right? The $100 million offer where the offer is so good you'd feel stupid saying no.
Mhm.
And so, okay, you have a compelling offer. That doesn't mean you've sold it. And so the first step of building this buying conversation roadmap is that offer. Then you want to build rapport, and whether that's on a Zoom call, whether that's in an email, whether that's on a phone call or face-to-face. Building rapport is something that a lot of people skip. And the problem that a lot of rookie salespeople or people that are well-intended, and by the way, experts in their field, and you probably know some as well, where they're so good in terms of their level, their area of expertise, that they pitch, they show up and throw up. And the
Mhm.
problem with that is that they haven't earned the right to be able to share their solution. So take a step back and let's aim. Am I in alignment? Am I ready to inspire, find out the motivation to empower someone? Then taking aim, we build rapport. Once I've built rapport, and by the way, rapport doesn't take very long. An introduction could be, hey, Majeed, I want to introduce you to my friend and business coach, Craig Ballantyne. Craig meets you. Well, I'm a common denominator. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're from Canada? Hey, well, yeah, I'm from Canada, but you're originally from Chicago. Okay, where's your favorite restaurant in Chicago? You start talking, you build rapport. And then what I like to do is transition from rapport to discovery. It's like, so what were we hoping to be able to get from this call today? And then you find out what a problem might be. Well, I'm looking to become a better speaker. Awesome. And then you would start asking questions in discovery. And part of discovery is getting a sense of what we call SMART goals. And a SMART goal is SMART. It's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So once you have 3 SMART goals in place, then we get to the 2 magic ingredients that everyone needs to create a buying conversation, because nobody wants to be sold. They want to choose to buy. And so if I don't want to sell anybody, what I need to do is, based on SMART goals, I want to find out where their desire is. And desire, let me ask you, have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich? I already know the answer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Many.
It's a classic. I actually read it once a year. I have it on Audible now.
Yeah.
And there's 2 magic ingredients in discovery that we need to be able to have people buy from us. The first is desire. The second is urgency.
Yeah.
And it can't be fake urgency. It can't be, well, Majeed, if we get off this call, the price doesn't apply anymore. Tomorrow the price goes up by $2,000. That's bullshit urgency. True urgency has to come from desire first. There has to be an innate desire. And in Think and Grow Rich, they drop the book, Napoleon Hill drops the word desire over 50 times in the first 3 chapters. There's actually a chapter in Think and Grow Rich that, for whatever reason, people skip over, whether it feels uncomfortable to them or they just skim through it because it's a pretty big book. Yeah. And the chapter I'm making reference to is the chapter on transmutation.
Yeah.
Of sexual desire to your business, to sales. If you think of how let's face it, my friend, we all got here. Everyone who's listening or watching right now on Facebook Live, guess what? We all got here the same way. Our parents did it and they desired it, and which is awesome, right? Yeah. And when you have that level of desire, when I'm looking at my wife, Shauna, in that desire way, imagine having that level of desire to what you want in your life, in your business, in your sales. That's Think and Grow Rich. Can I develop transmutation of that sexual energy to desire. Well, what do I need to do as an excellent salesperson, as a sales sensei, as a black belt? What do I need to ask to incite desire in others? Because there's questions that we need to ask. So what questions do I ask? And how far down the thread am I willing to lean into those difficult conversations so I can incite so much desire? And I am sure you've experienced this, Majeed. And I'll ask you, have you ever had somebody on a call where you're going through discovery and they cry?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not suggesting that this needs to happen every time. I'm simply saying that you have a skill set, that you're not afraid to ask challenging questions.
Yeah.
And the thing is, sometimes during discovery, people will say things for the first time. They'll vocalize something that is a desire out loud for the first time. Once we understand the desire and create urgency around that, then we move on to, again, we earn the right. It's the step on this roadmap to get to the first temperature check. And a temperature check would, again, you're a master at this. You've said this countless times. People buy based on emotion and they justify it with logic. This is right out of expert speaker. So the temperature check, now that I have desire and urgency, I would simply temperature check, do the math and go, so Majeed, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. So now I'm putting a number to it, which is logical. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how important and urgent?
We may have lost Joe.
Oh no, are we still here? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, I think that was my connection.
It might have been.
I just got a message that said internet unstable, but
okay.
So temperature check, do the math, then what?
Right. So when we temperature check, I ask the question on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how important and urgent is it for you to, and you go over the SMART goals and you finish with the deep-seated desire. So it could be, how important is it for you to drop those 20 pounds, be ready for your New Year's Eve party, to be able to fit that black sequin dress so that your husband looks at you and just like the sexy beast you are, right?
How important is it to you? And then you make this beautiful image for them to say, oh, I want that. And then they're going to say something like, it's very important to me, Joe.
Right. So then you go, okay, so it's very important. So give me the number to be able to ring in the logic piece. Give me the number on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, of course, you've also said this. I remember this in live training with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 7 doesn't count.
Yeah.
Which is also great. However, if somebody says it's an 8, I always like to ask, okay, so 8, it's a great number. I'm just curious, what's missing for us to be able to get it to a 10? And then, and I fill in those pieces, because now what we're doing is we're pre-objection handling. Somebody might say, well, you know, I just love, I love to drink wine. So I just want to make sure that I'm not giving up wine. So then I would say, okay, so what you're saying is you're a connoisseur of wine. You enjoy, I'm sure, is it red or white, by the way? And they tell me, okay, so you enjoy a nice Pinot Noir and you like to taste the dirt. And you don't want to give that up. So if there was a way for us to be able to make this program work for you where you could still enjoy wine on a regular basis and get you to those results that you're talking about, where would that put you now on that scale of 1 to 10?
I love that.
You said 8.
So it says, if there was a way for us to give you the thing that you think is missing, where would you be at then?
Right. And because what most people do wrong is they turn around and they go, oh, we could do that. It's like, no. We got to get them to answer the question.
Okay.
Once so the transition, I'll put this back up. So once we've got the temperature check confirmed, and sometimes, by the way, culturally speaking, there's some cultures that they'll never give you a 10. Like my friend Steve Lindenau, he's from he's German descent, and he throws on the German accent. He says, and he doesn't have a German accent. So this is my horrible German accent. He would say, Joe, nothing is ever perfect. I will only give things a 9. And so I would say, so Steve, what you're saying is 9 is the new 10.
Okay.
Okay. So if I get a 9 or a 10, excellent. I transition. And the transition is, well, the good news is we deal with these problems, or we offer these solutions all the time. In fact, I've worked with over 10,000 people in my own business, helping over 300 companies go from 7 to 8 figures. As a matter of fact, you remind me of, and I pop up a testimonial. And then I would say, so Majeed, are you ready to get results just like Rick? Yes. Awesome. Well, let me show you this. And then I put up my pitch deck.
In fact, your situation reminds me of this client. Let me tell you a story. Would you like to get results just like him?
Yes.
I like
And
that.
that's your transition. And you got to practice all of this. Then you've got to practice your pitch. And the problem with most people is that if they even use a pitch deck, it's too wordy.
Yeah.
And what we just want to have a conversation, right? This is called a buying conversation roadmap for a reason. Then you get to, during your pitch, you temperature check again. And it's before price. So during the pitch, you get towards the end of your pitch and you go, so on a scale of 1 to 10, Majeed, 10 being the highest, how confident are you that we're going to be able to go over the SMART goals and the desire, achieve your goals, right? First temperature check is how important and urgent. The second one is how confident are you that we're going to be able to achieve your goals by working together? And they say, well, I'm a 8, 9, 10. I have some people say I'm an 11. And before I move forward, I go, great, you're an 11. What makes it an 11?
Yeah.
And they sell themselves. And then I go into the price. And then I go, well, the great news is it's just this price. Just. Because it's just. It's fair.
Oh, just and fair.
Right?
That's true.
Just is fair. It's not only, it's just. So the good news is, Majeed, in our world, for example, if somebody says, yeah, I want to, and I offer people options. I've got a diamond package, a platinum package, and a gold package. So I'll show the different packages, and then I do what's called the option close. And I'll say, so here are the 3 packages, and then I'll put up the 3 prices, and it's just this, or just this. So I'm just curious, Majeed, which option, which package is going to fit you best?
Give me the
No,
time.
it's based on everything. You've already told me it's 10. I've shown you the prices. It's just. So which option is going to fit you best? Then, and only then, do you actually deal with objections if they have one. And that's where you overcome objection with the SOS. And a lot of people say, well, I want to have an objectionless sale every time. And the answer is, it's not going to happen every time. So you got to know how to take it apart to keep it together. And this is why you need to know the skill of overcoming objections when they do happen. And that comes with, just like being a speaker, you need to have the 3 C's of being a sales samurai. The first C is confidence, so people believe you. You need to have conviction, so people believe in you. And you also need to be in control, because there's some people that come in and they pitch, they believe in everything they've got, and they come across as pushy. They come across as aggressive. So in the dojo, I want you to consider that I'd rather have you be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. So we'll teach you concepts. We'll give you tactics and approaches that you may never use. I want them in your toolbox so that you can make the choice as to when you pull out the sword. I want people to be so freaking dangerous that they know how to do it, and because they have honor and integrity, they choose not to.
Amazing. There's a lot of gold in there. That's worth re-listening to. That really does break down the journey and building confidence. And I love that the first one is about urgency. How important is this to you? And how urgent is this to you? How confident are you that we are going to be able to accomplish this together? Right. The language starts to become a we together. Very good. Joe, thank you so much.
An honor. Honestly, an honor, my friend. I can't tell you, honestly, Majeed, you I've already had speaker coaches. I was already a speaker when I met you. I'm telling you, you changed my life. When I say you changed my life, yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do a case study on your growth. You were an inspiration before we started to work together. Just like I just have so much respect for you and your company and your method. Um, but tell me, what was your biggest struggle related to speaking before we started working together, and what has shifted since working with me?
So, when dealing with you, I didn't have a specific signature speech. Now the fun part is I've actually got 3 of them.
Cool.
And I can tailor these to almost any organization. Now the customizability of them, and
Yeah.
I can make them shorter and longer. So there was a guy by the name of Sharon Srivatsa. I don't know if you know of Sharon. He's massive in the real estate space, and he's a billionaire with a
Mhm.
B. And I saw him speak at the Empire Business Summit back in 2019. And he said, you've got to come up with a signature speech. If you ever want to speak in front of audiences on a regular basis, you've got to come up with a signature speech. He said that and it just flew over. And then I met you in a networking group, and you said, I can help you create your signature speech. And it was like, that's my guy.
Ah, I got to send a commission over to that billionaire guy.
Yeah. And it's fantastic because what that did for me, the struggle that I was having before was, hey, I want to coach, I want to coach, I want to coach. And yeah, I could go up and tell people about my content. I just didn't have it outlined in a way where I could have so much fun telling stories around. Now I could talk about the buying conversation roadmap, and I can have stories with it, and I could be really myself, which of course I could be, gregarious, and I'll like to use voices and whatnot, and it's fun. And what you gave me was the ability to be able to be more myself on stage. The other thing that you also gave me was the ability to learn how to get the next gigs in place, because I don't have an agency yet. I've had people say I could be your agent and blah blah blah, and at this stage I don't know if I necessarily need one. I've got a book that'll come out in the new year. Maybe that'll change. Um, so yeah, you gave me a lot of great tools and tips, the tactics. And I mean, what's great is I get rebooked now. Like some of the things, and I'm not going to give everything away here. I'll just say this much. There were some tactics that you've given me where I've had the program directors or the CEO or the event organizers come up to me at the end of the event saying, I've never had anybody do this before, and this is amazing, and we really appreciate it. And I learned these tactics from you. So yeah, prior.
Spill the beans, Joe. Tell us, what tactics are you referring
The
to?
one tactic in particular that blows people away, and I just ordered another 144 thank you cards on Amazon.
Hmm.
And I travel with a stack. So I just recently asked, because I'm speaking in Miami next month, I said, how many people are going to be there? She said between 45 to 60. I'm going to bring 45 to, I'm going to bring 60 thank you cards. I'm going to hand them out during my 1 hour speech. And I'm going to say, by the way, I want us all to thank Linda and thank Craig.
This is so good. This is so
And
good.
and by doing so, like I'll put it to you this way, and by doing so, they're going to be like, nobody's ever done this before.
Yeah.
I spoke at a different summit for a different company back in April of last year in Nashville. 3 months after the person who put this on, her name is Nicole. Nicole got on a Facebook Live and then chopped up all of these little clips of her reading the thank you cards that her audience sent to her. She's still thanking me today because she's kept all the cards.
Yeah.
And she goes, when I'm feeling down, I'm reading the thank you cards and it reminds me my why, what I'm doing this for. Because let's face it, you and I are entrepreneurs. There's likely people that are listening that are entrepreneurs, or if you're in sales, guess what? It's not a perfect straight up journey.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
And those thank you cards are a beam of light when you're in the darkness, and the darkness will hit. So that, my friend,
a killer
is
move.
gold.
Yeah.
Gold. And what's the cost? Like, let's say it cost $1 a card. $60 to be able to have somebody say, I want you to come back because nobody's ever been this thoughtful before. No brainer.
Yeah, good one. Good one. So couple of key takeaways. One was you didn't have a signature speech. You felt like you needed a signature speech.
Yes.
Now you have not one, but you got 3. And
Yes.
are you following the model that we teach with the Pain Island and the Pleasure Island success story?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then the other thing is you've developed some tactics that are getting you rebooked.
Which is about relationships.
Yeah.
And you can speak to an audience, or you can figure out a way and learn from you to speak to the person who's listening right now.
Yes.
And they feel listened to.
Yes. Well, thank you, Joe, once again. And how do people get a hold of you to learn more from you?
I would invite them to go to sosdojo.com. You can go to sosdojo.com. You can follow me at SOS Dojo on Instagram, or look me up, Joe Marcoux, on LinkedIn. I also gave you a little something where they can get access to the how to handle the 26 toughest objections in sales. It's a great guide. It's free. And Majeed will have it in the show notes. That way you guys can get that guide. If you're running into objections, take it. It's absolutely free. It's my gift to you.
Amazing. Check the show notes for the guide to overcome objections. If you're looking for a sales speaker who's going to blow away your audience and be the most thoughtful sales speaker you've ever met, call Joe Marcoux, certified expert speaker, the Sales Sensei. Thank you, Joe. Great to see you.
Pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure.